Greetings, film fanatics. Filmholmes here, and welcome to another rendition of Too Many Movies. So here in a couple weeks, the long-anticipated third movie in what's now going to be the new Star Trek trilogy, Star Trek Beyond, is going to be released, and I am very, very excited. The first two JJ Abrams movies got me into Star Trek, basically. I was not a Star Trek fan. I never hated it, but I was more of a Star Wars kid. I didn't dig Star Trek. I would watch the stuff on TV, and frankly, it bored me. I grew up with The Next Generation, phenomenal TV show, one of the best ever, and even now, I still can't fully get into it. It's a little too slow, and I just don't like it. I like it much more now than I did as a child, but I didn't really appreciate it, and I still kind of don't. Even the original series, I just can't really get into. I respect it. It's just not my cup of tea. But I was always curious about the movies because I heard the movies were a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit more action-oriented, and I know a lot of people say that's not what Star Trek is about, and they're not wrong. And a lot of Star Trek aficionados, they don't like the new JJ Abrams Star Trek movies. And I can understand. It's wildly different from what they grew up with the original movies or the TV shows. I get that. But at the same time, it's keeping Star Trek alive. And these are very, very well-made movies, and it made me a Star Trek fan, and it made me go back and watch all of the Star Trek movies, from Star Trek 1 through 6, and then the Next Generation movies. And I promise eventually I will review all of those. In my collection, I have all of the good old Star Trek movies, 2, 3, 4, 6, and First Contact. They actually had every Star Trek movie on Netflix, but then they got rid of them except for First Contact. So, but if I'm going to do that, I should review all of them, even the really bad ones, like 1... I know people say 3's bad. It's not. It's actually pretty good. 1, 5, Generations, Insurrection, and Nemesis in a way. I want to watch all those, and eventually I will. And I'll review every other Star Trek movie. But since the new one is coming out, and I've seen the first two many, many times, I thought, okay, well, perfect timing. I'm going to go ahead and review the first two Star Trek movies in the JJ Abrams Star Trek franchise. And that's what I'm going to do. So, let's begin with the one that started it all again, Star Trek. So, I didn't really have... How can I put this? I didn't really have, like, a sense of... I have to go see this, it wasn't Star Wars for me, or it wasn't something like that. But the trailers looked really good. I liked the music in it. I thought the actors they got looked a lot like the original characters. And a lot of people thought, well, why don't they just have original characters? But I kind of enjoyed the fact that they were resurrecting these original Star Trek series characters. And I thought that, and the way that they do that in the movie is very, very clever. How they resurrect this franchise from the depths of, nothing. I mean, I'm not saying people still don't watch the original TV show or the original movies. Of course they do. They're still as big as ever, probably bigger. But in the eyes of mainstream, nobody really talks about it, and now they do. They talk about Captain Kirk and Spock and Uhura and all the others. And that's really cool that JJ Abrams was able to bring that back. And the fact that he resurrected the Star Wars and Star Trek franchises, that's never going to be done again. So JJ, you are on frickin' fire, buddy. Good job. But as for this movie, I love this movie. I love it. It's a phenomenal sci-fi movie, action movie. It gets a lot of the Star Trek elements correct. It's fast-paced, the music is great, the soundtrack is awesome. The cast is really good. It's really funny. It's really dramatic. The story in this one was very well written, with a twist in the middle that changes everything and makes you go, oh, that's what's going on. And I thought it was very, very clever. Very clever writing. I didn't even see it coming. And I thought it was a good way to bring back the Star Trek franchise. And JJ did a great job, minus all of his... What's that called? Like when the lights hit the camera, he loves doing that in his movies. Same with Steven Spielberg and his spotlight fetish, but we love him. It's just the way it goes. but from beginning to end, this is a lot of fun. There are a few elements I don't like Spock controlling his feelings. It just doesn't feel very Spock-like, the way they go about that. And they really make Kirk out to be a big dick in the beginning, which I completely understand. It makes sense. But as a kid, I'm still confused. He steals his stepdad's car to drive it off a cliff and jump out of it? What the hell's your problem, you little shit? You want to kill yourself? That doesn't make any sense. And people told me, oh, it was to get a rush. Well, he didn't get a rush just from driving it? Why do you have to crash the damn car? I figured he would accidentally crash it. And I like the cop that was chasing him. He crashes the car. He almost falls off a cliff. Kirk pulls himself up. And the cop just goes, "Citizen, what's your name?" Really? I can't... If I get pulled over, I don't get that greeting. It's a lot more tense than that. Well, whatever. You know, but I like how they kind of made Spock and Kirk a little bit similar in terms of the anger department. They kind of put them, they binded them together a little bit, and their relationship in the movie is fleshed out and done really well. And all the other characters are just very well cast. It's very funny. I think it's very true to Star Trek, at least for me with the past movies. Is it the best Star Trek movie? No, not at all. I still prefer... Wrath of Khan, I'll go ahead and say, before I review all those in the future, Wrath of Khan I think is still the best Star Trek movie. It just has everything a Star Trek movie should have, but also has the same elements of the Star Trek shows in a lot of ways. Disagree with me or not, that's how I feel. But this, from beginning to end, is a thrill ride. It really is, and I love popping this in every chance I get because I love sci-fi movies, and this is one of my favorites. So the first Star Trek movie, in my opinion, is a 4 out of 5. It has its issues. Some things don't make sense. Some things are a little bit annoying. But all in all, it is a 2-hour adrenaline ride that you're not going to want to end. And like I said, it was, I thought, cleverly written, well acted, well directed. The action's fantastic. It's just a pleasure of a movie to watch, in my opinion. And it brought Star Trek back in the mainstream. So... gotta thank JJ for that. But let's move on to the next one Let's move on to the next one. So Star Trek Into Darkness, the very controversial sequel to the first Star Trek, which I thought it was a huge hit, and it made about double its budget, but that's about it. I mean, like $150 million budget, and it made not even $400 million. That just really surprised me. It's still a hit, still a lot of money, but Star Trek Into Darkness was hyped a lot. You know, they got Benedict Cumberbatch to come in as the main villain, and it looked big and it looked a lot darker. It's called Star Trek Into Darkness, which people thought was a goofy title. I thought it was a good title. I didn't mind it. This movie, I love. I love this movie. And a lot of people have said what I'm about to say. I really love this movie. Until the last 15 minutes. That's when it becomes a horribly written movie from like the 90s. With this cliche crap that you see coming from a fucking mile away. And it's disappointing. Because that shouldn't have happened. They could have come up with a better way to dig themselves out of a hole. And in the theater, I went, ugh, like I groaned. I was so mad, just like a lot of other people. Before that, it was good. And I wasn't going to say this, but this isn't a spoiler. This movie's been out for several years. Everyone knows this right now. Benedict Cumberbatch is Khan. That guy is Khan, a white British man, and I love me some Benedict Cumberbatch. One of the best actors out there nowadays. Sherlock is one of my all-time favorite TV shows and one of my current favorite TV shows. I was excited to see him in this movie, and he is very, very good in this movie. But when your series is set, I'll just say, in the same universe as the original movies and TV show, when Khan was what he was, this is not Khan! Why did you make this guy Khan? Why couldn't you have made this guy an associate of Khan's? You could have had Khan not as the main character. Like, have this guy, have that guy, and like, you could have had it to where like Spock shows a certain somebody, I don't want to ruin anything, a photo of him, and he goes, That's not Khan. And this guy was lying that he was Khan. And there's some backstory about what happened to the real Khan. You could have really played with that and made it clever. You could have made the audience think, that's not Khan, that's not Khan. And then it's like, oh, it's not Khan. We were indeed conned! Just giving you a second to soak in what I just did because that was a great joke. But they didn't. He's Khan. And it's disappointing because he does a great job in it and he shouldn't be shit on for it. It was lazy, stupid writing. They basically rip off Wrath of Khan, the best Star Trek movie still, and they shouldn't have. And even JJ Abrams came out and said that was a huge mistake. But until that last 15 minutes, the movie is suspenseful, it's funny, it's dark, it's fun. You know, all the characters, they get their moments to shine. There's a good story arc with Kirk in a way. You know, a good story arc with Spock and even Uhura, and there's even like some big deaths. It just and some new characters introduced. And the other controversy in this movie was the woman who plays, I can't remember her name, a beautiful actress, a good actress, British actress, plays Doctor. It's the same doctor that was Kirk's love interest or former love interest in Wrath of Khan. I apologize, I don't remember the character's name, but she had a scene where she was in her bra and panties. I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed it. I'm a man. I'm a straight man, so I enjoyed it. People said that it was fan service. Yeah, it's a summer blockbuster, and tits and ass. Men are easy, you know? So, yeah, it was. But at the same time, the joke was, you know, she was changing. Kirk turned around, looked at her, and she said, "Turn back around, please." It was a quick shot of her in her bra and panties. I don't see what all the fuss was about. The actress seemed to be okay with it. She hasn't said anything bad about it. They didn't force her to do it. I'm sure she knew she had to do it, and she was fine with it. So what's the problem there? And I think people just found more stuff to bitch about because they were disappointed in the ending. And the ending is a huge disappointment. It's a letdown. It's cheesy, and it makes sense, but you see it coming from a mile away. And the first movie, you didn't see a lot of it coming from a mile away, especially the big twist in the middle. I didn't see that coming. And in this one, that last 15 minutes, when they recreated certain scenes from Wrath of Khan, I get what they were going for. They just didn't do it correctly. And frankly, they shouldn't have done it at all. At the same time, I can't hate this movie. I think it's a very good sequel. They fucked up the ending, which kind of does fuck up the whole movie. But at the same time, when an hour and 45 out of 2 hours is great, for the most part, it's still a good movie. You know, it's a good sequel. I just hope that they do better with 3, but hopefully they will. But still, Star Trek Into Darkness, I give 3.5 out of 5. Some of you may think that's a little too high. I still think this movie is very enjoyable. I do recommend it. It's a good sequel, but the last 15 minutes, even if you're not a Star Trek, like a huge Star Trek guy or girl, fan, if you've never seen Wrath of Khan, you will still go, that sucked. It doesn't appeal to really anybody. But, you know, they admit they fucked up. It just happens. So there you go. Those were my quick little reviews of Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. And I will be seeing Star Trek Beyond when it comes out, and I promise I will have a review up for it shortly after. I hope to see it the moment it comes out. Who knows if that'll happen, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm very, very excited for it. There was controversy over the first trailer that came out, and it sucked. Whoever did that trailer, I'm not saying should be fired, but should have been fined, if that's a thing. For the people that make the trailers, if you make a shitty trailer, you should get fined, because it was awful. And even Simon Pegg, the co-writer of the movie, came out and said that's not what the movie is. And they released a new trailer, and it was much, much better. And it got me very excited. You know, I'm not expecting anything better than the first one, but I still think it'll be a really fun movie. And unfortunately, a few weeks ago, the actor who played Chekhov, Anton Yelkin, he passed away tragically at a very young age, I believe 27. In a freak accident, his car rolled down the driveway and pinned him between him and his gate, and he suffocated to death. And that's just the truth of, you know, it's real life. And I just want to say that I very much enjoyed him in these movies, and he did a lot of other movies that I haven't seen, but I would love to see his work. I believe he's in Charlie Bartlett, If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I haven't seen much of his work besides Star Wars, but I know he was very beloved, very well liked, and this will be one of his final movies. And it's a shame, because you wonder if they're going to continue the franchise. Will they recast? I mean, they'll have to. Or will they just kill the character off or let the character go? I don't know, but I'm sure he put in a fantastic performance. It really dampens the movie, because these are fun summer movies, and that's what they're supposed to be, and they're supposed to be fun for the cast and the director and the writers to go and to watch these movies with the audiences, and it's just going to be a sad occasion because Anton can't be there. It's a young life that was taken for the dumbest of reasons, and it's not his fault. It was a freak accident, and those are sometimes worse. And there's a lot of stuff going on in America right now with shootings, and that's not what the show's about. I'm not going to get into it. I'm sick of the tragedies just like the rest of you. It's almost not safe to go outside. But then to die due to your car rolling up on you, life doesn't make sense a lot of the time. But all we can do is remember his body of work and remember him as the fine actor that he was and enjoy him in his movies. And for the people that knew him, I'm not one to say thoughts and prayers will go out to them, because to me that doesn't do anything. It's a nice sentiment, but it's not going to help them. I just hope that they can get through this, and they'll always remember him just like we will. I will definitely always remember him as Chekhov in the new Star Trek movies. He was one of my favorite characters, and I look forward to seeing him in Star Trek Beyond. So, sorry to go dark on you, but I want to talk about that a little bit. But Star Trek Beyond comes out, I believe, July 22nd. I will have a review up of it soon after I see it. This was Too Many Movies. I'm Filmholmes, and I will see you in the next video. Later.